All right, welcome back, everybody. I'm here with another one of my amazing clients, Reem. She's going to tell us about her journey, and we're going to walk through it a little bit here. So, Reem, if you could let us know kind of what you do, where you live, and sort of why you joined the program.
I'm Reem El-Khadi. I live in Kitchener-Waterloo. I've moved here in 2019 from Calgary, Alberta. I'm a professional organizer, residential professional organizer. And before that, I was interior designer. So I have a very hands-on, very physical job. And the reason I joined this program is I've been having some health issues since around 2015. Things have been progressively getting worse. And then I was diagnosed in 2018 or 2019 with fibromyalgia. So as much as I am very physical in my day-to-day, it meant that I couldn't work out. I didn't do exercising and like sports as much as I used to before. And everything was just sliding. My sleep, my energy levels, my hormones. And I tried bunch of things to get things on track, and I couldn't get them on track.
Now, you mentioned tried some things. What did you try, and what did you find didn't work before?
So obviously I am on a bunch of medication to help with my different conditions. I've also I've gone to naturopath, and I've done food sensitivity testing. I've done allergy testing. I've started several hormonal supplement regimens. So I'd already been taking a bunch of supplements to kind of make things better. I did do dietary restrictions on and off throughout the years. And yeah, it was mainly seeing a number of people, trying a number of things. I never was ever a fan of dieting for losing weight. Never have really done it before in my life. I've done obviously the calorie counting and being conscious of what I eat, but the extreme dieting and all that, I wasn't a big fan of it. Still aren't, and still don't follow it. But I do believe that you need to eat healthy. So you don't diet and then go back. If you're going to change something, it has to be like for the long range, not a short-term thing.
Yeah. So now with all those things, I mean, it sounds like you've tried it all, right? And most of it is to manage your health.
Yeah.
So explain a little bit to everybody, like how it was different this time and what was the biggest change for you?
So it's gotten really bad to the point that I was non-functional without medications. I could spend my days in bed. Sometimes I experienced fatigue to the point that talking hurt or eating hurt or just sitting up hurts. I was in pain all the time. Everything, my whole body was in pain, my stomach, different areas. And so it got to a point where I can't continue like this. I need to do something. I can't work. I can't function. It's really hard. And so I talked with Carrie and I found out more about your program, and I'm like, you know what? I have nothing left to lose. I might as well give it a try. And so I went in. I was really apprehensive about the very extreme, dietary restrictions, not the fact that it's a diet, but it's a lifestyle, because I knew it's not like a temporary thing. If I commit, I commit. Yes. And I was worried because you know what? I have a sweet tooth. I love my candy. I love my desserts. I love bread. I love all that stuff. Yes. I'm like, I'm never going to be able to cut that stuff out of my life. It's going to be insane. No way, no how. How am I going to live like that? And honestly, it was hard, obviously, at the beginning, and overall, it's a lot easier than I expected to actually cut it out. And once you cut it out and things start feeling better again, you're like, okay, is it really worth the pain? Is it really worth what I'm going to feel afterwards? And honestly, sometimes I do decide, yeah, it's worth it. I'll enjoy. But most of the time I'm like, no, it's not worth it. And so that makes it easier.
Now, the foods we're talking about are mostly the wheat, dairy, corn, soy, sugar, the inflammatory foods.
Yes.
So, and in your case, removing these foods has total effect on your fibromyalgia, right? So
It definitely has.
right. So you eat the inflammatory foods and it spikes an attack, right? So I think that's the part you were getting at with the restrictions, right? Is that those things are restriction and it's hard to cut those out, right? They're in a lot of things, but when we see the impact they have on our body and the inflammation they cause, it's a lot easier to take them out, like you said.
100%. When you realize how much they were harming me, it wasn't a matter of willpower. It was a very easy decision afterward. Sometimes, like, it's not me feeling deprived. It's me feeling, why am I doing this to myself?
Yeah, absolutely. I still have those too. Like, I weigh it every time. I don't do well with dairy at all, even if it's just like a smidge. And, you kind of go, is it worth it to have this? And you have to weigh your options, right? Because whether, if you eat it, you're going to have that momentary satisfaction of, oh my gosh, that tastes good. But how many hours or days after are you going to feel the effects of it? That's where I go, yeah, sometimes it's not worth it, but sometimes it is. You never know, right?
And I feel as long as I'm conscious and I'm making very aware decisions, it's not mindless. Yes. That's okay. As long as I'm aware and it's a choice and I know, and it's not mindless eating, or I'm not aware and I'm just eating. And then I'm wondering, why is everything going so badly? I think it's better.
Yeah. Now, what would you say are the biggest benefits or results that you've achieved so far?
So, the biggest one I have to say is sleep. So prior to my diagnosis, I have ADHD. I always have issues with sleep. So I'm a late sleeper. I wake up really foggy and not in a good mood. I always used to tell my kids, do not talk to me before 2 hours after I'm up. I can't deal with this. So, and that's been getting really bad to the point that I averaged 5 hours a night. And I knew it was bad and I knew it was affecting me, but I didn't really make the connection how bad it was affecting me. And so that took a long time to get in the program, to get on track. It took me a long time. And it did eventually get on track where I was doing 7 to 8 hours a night. And I was sleeping through the night. I wasn't waking up several times. I was waking up refreshed. I was waking up alert, which was great. And I've never had that. I think for the past 20 years, I've never had that issue. So so there are times, obviously, when I'm stressed or when I have mental issues or emotional issues, things kind of backslide a little bit. And I can immediately tell how much it's affecting everything. It's affecting my health levels, my pain, my alertness, everything. And I'm realizing how much it was really bad for me now that I can see what it's like to sleep. So to me, that's been life-changing. I used to go into bed, doesn't matter what time I go into bed, I could lie in bed for 4 hours, just not sleeping. And it got to the point that I was starting to get sleepy at around 10:30, and I would shut everything off and I'd go to bed and I'd sleep. And so that's been amazing. And I think that's the biggest thing. I'm not bloated. My stomach's not in pain all the time. I'd gone to the point where I thought this was normal. It's normal for someone for their stomach to hurt all the time. That's okay. That's like how it goes with digesting food. It's not like that anymore. Yes, it hurts more than average, but not the norm. It's not my everyday thing. And that's also been life-changing. The bloating's gone down. So I think those are definitely amazing things that I didn't expect to happen.
Yeah. And I think, I like that you touched on those factors. I mean, you've done amazing. You've lost 25 pounds.
Which is great. And I told you from the start, I would love to lose weight but I've always been one of those people that my weight, it can go up and down. It's gone up and down 50 pounds both ways for no reason. I have huge hormonal issues. And so I could eat nothing and gain weight, and I could be eating continuously and still lose weight. So I've gone both sides. So I'm thankful I'm at a point in my life where I don't care about my weight. It is what it is, and it is happening. I care about my health, but losing weight is a great perk.
Right. And I think on your end, I remember when we spoke in the beginning, it was like, you know, losing weight is going to be the byproduct of getting your health under control. And I think that's where we are at right now, right? Like your focus was on feeling better, sleeping better, and doing those kinds of things. And then the weight just came off, right? Yeah. And that's what I find so amazing.
I'm actually eating more, a lot more than I used to. And so,
And you still are, like, there's still times in your life where you're making choices to have a sugary treat, or, you know, certain lifestyle choices that you're making, but on a consistent level, you are on a downhill turn, right? And your body's feeling better. Like you said, you're less bloated, you're sleeping better, and you're feeling better overall. So that, I would say, is a win-win. And you didn't really have a goal weight. Your goal was just, I want to feel better.
It is, exactly. And if I wanted before, and the weight, like you said, is a byproduct, which is great, but it's not a realistic, because if I wanted to get back to my pre-health issues goal in 2015, it would mean that I would have needed to lose 70 pounds.
Right.
And I knew that would have been unrealistic. So I didn't care, but I cared that I wasn't sleeping. I cared about that I wasn't enjoying my time, that I was always on edge, that I wasn't happy. I was playing with my kids. Those were things that I cared about.
Yes, 100%. So good.
Yeah.
Now, what would you say to someone who's considering the program, that might be a little bit scared or skeptical about what's going on? Would you give them any advice?
Yes, I would say that, because I was in your shoes. I was thinking, I can't do this. It's too much. And, you know, there were times, especially at the beginning, I didn't have the energy to commit to this program, which does need commitment, to cook, to prepare. And because of my fibro, I had no energy. And I was lucky I had, my husband was able to help in that area, but it was worth it. So yes, it does need commitment. Yes, it needs you to be conscious and involved. But it is a lot easier than the boogeyman you make out in your head. And it's always the first step that's hardest. But seriously, it goes by once you commit to it. And you have to get into the mind frame that it's not a temporary thing. So even if you goes down one point, that's okay. We have ups and downs throughout our lives. But once you get to it, it's doable, and it's so worth the results you're going to see in your overall life. And don't be scared. It's just, you're worth it. You deserve it.
Yes. Thank you. Well, I'm going to end on that, because you just summed it up so wonderfully.
Oh, I'm not.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on today. It was great hearing your story. Thank you for sharing. I know there's lots of people out there who probably feel the same and had the same trepidation as you did. So I applaud you, and thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. Like, it's been a life-saving experience for me. So thank you.
No problem. Anytime.
Okay.